Okay.
Well, good morning there. Good morning, and welcome to Paladin Lifestyle. We are here this morning. I'm Matthew.
I'm Aaron Boyer.
Cody Wayne.
Cody Wayne.
Cody Wayne.
I don't want to use my last name anymore.
No.
No. That can be like your screen alias is Cody Wayne.
Seems a little weird.
I think
your
at some
author
point
name.
when you're buying a house or something,
Yeah,
you
it
don't
has
want
nothing
that. But
to do with not wanting to be like affiliated with this officially. It's just, I don't know. I just was thinking about it last night.
No, that's
Let's
cool.
just go by Cody
Yeah.
Wayne.
It's kind of like a handle.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
this is, again, Paladin Lifestyle.
Today, I think that we're going to be talking a little bit about personal preferences, acquired taste versus the natural taste you were born with. We actually got into a little discussion. We actually hang out outside of this place as well because we're all fairly good friends. And we got into the debate. Our friend Cody here does not like cilantro. He is one of those
Unbelievable
people, right? And they
I'd
say that it can be a gene.
One of those people,
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of those. I don't want to say unfortunates, but there is that rumor that you're genetically predisposed to like cilantro taste soapy.
Our
right?
mother's like that too. Our own dear sweet mother cannot stand cilantro.
So
kidding.
we have a little clip.
Cody's like, imagine that.
You don't say,
Imagine
Right?
that.
And she is also wrong. But we have a little clip we're going to show from our discussion last night. I was fortuitous enough to capture some of this discussion. You get to even see some of the veins bulging in Matthew's neck, which is always a pleasure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, here that is.
Are wrong. God created your taste buds, and he had them bend in a particular way. Now, if you say I don't like it, if you're saying, well, my taste buds are broken, I don't like how it tastes. No, your taste buds are tasting it fine. You're the one saying that you don't like it. It's just like a cold water. Why don't we go into a cold water bath all the time? Go, oh man, I can't wait to go take a free cold shower. No, you want to get in a nice hot bath because it's more comfortable. It's like it's what we long for.
Wait, a hot bath is like blue cheese?
So you're just saying...
Well, I'm just saying we choose. We say we like it better than the other.
No,
and I'm saying in certain...
So you're basically just on the baseline saying, grow the fuck up and just choose to like it. That's what you're on a base level.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
That's
Yeah.
the crust level. All this
Correct.
other bullshit's
Yeah,
on top.
yeah.
That's the base point you're
Well,
making.
and I'm not
Grow
saying
the fuck up and just
you're.
like it.
I'm not. What grieves me is I feel like I'm telling you that you're wrong for saying that, and that
Oh,
doesn't.
you exactly are.
No. That's not what I'm getting at. That's not what I'm getting at all. I'm saying that you're just making a choice. That's all I'm pointing out.
I'm not
saying
choice.
right, wrong,
You're
or
saying I'm
indifferent.
making
There's not a difference. I'm just saying you're making a
subconscious
decision.
choice.
You're making a decision. That's all I'm
But
saying.
I have the power to not make that choice. Is what you're saying. To dislike it.
Of course. Isn't that how it always is?
So you think you just like what you like and you can never acquire different tastes?
No, I'm not saying that.
I mean, that's what it always is, right?
You guys are attacking me.
What are you saying?
No, not at all.
Who are y'all, really?
So
That was enlightening.
what do you feel like? Because I know that there are certain things that I didn't like right when I first tried it. Cigars actually being one of them.
Well, you didn't like cigars when you first tried it?
The first time I smoked a cigar, somebody gave me a really heavy, full-bodied, like, here, Matthew, try this. Like, they were really into it, but it blew my dome off.
Did you inhale?
No.
Wow. All right.
I inhaled a little bit further down the road. It wasn't my very first cigar, but that was I had smoked a lot of other things previously that I didn't inhale, and I was like, oh, sure, this is tobacco, and yeah, that was a mistake. But no, the first cigar I ever tried, it was very peppery. I believe it was probably too strong for what my palate is. I didn't know what I was getting into. But I think the point that I knew is that I had seen so many other people enjoying it, and I liked the culture, that I knew if I learned to like it, that it was going to be something I would enjoy for the rest of my life.
That makes a lot of
Sure.
sense.
Well, and you see people and the way they enjoy it. Like, I want that. Like you said, because I think that and it's the culture and it's the people and all that, but it's also just the idea of like, what is it that they're appreciating about it? Right. You know, what is this? Because I mean, I don't want to say millions of people can't be wrong.
Yeah.
But they're enjoying it. Like, millions of people are enjoying smoking cigars and pipe tobacco. They're getting these aromas and these flavors. What is it? What psychologically, all of that, is all of that developed over time? I mean, I think I can't say that's for certain, but I feel like I've met people that picked up their first cigar. They were just like, oh, this is awesome.
Right.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
That
No.
wasn't me for certain. Like
Really?
Aaron said, no.
When I did it, it was awesome. It was that experience.
Really?
It just
Yeah.
clicked.
Yeah.
It was just really good. Not in like in a chemical level or anything. It just tasted really good.
Sure.
And then like every time subsequently that I had a cigar after that, I was always looking for that same taste, that same aha moment on, oh, this is a good cigar. And I knew,
Sure.
like some of your old label, you know, from the old shop, like I had one from that black and white.
Yeah.
And it did that Brazilian leaf, and it just, I smoked it and I knew it was good. I didn't know very much about cigars, but I knew this tastes good,
Yes.
you know. So
Yeah. Well, and so, I mean, with you being, I mean, last night you were kind of the one on trial, I suppose, a little bit.
Yeah, because
I'm
you guys-
sorry.
you guys were basically like, oh, you don't like cilantro, you don't like blue cheese, then how can we trust your taste buds? Let me know how the kids menu tastes. Like, tell me about that kids
Yes, I'm
menu.
still using
That's
that
the
line
only
today.
thing.
But I would say, has there been anything that you can really think of in life that you didn't like at first? But
Hell yeah.
Okay, so like, but because of the culture or whatever that you wanted to be a part of.
No, it was just like when I was a kid, when it came to food, it was about texture. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't like slimy grossness. Like, I remember my mom
like
getting
wet bread or
Yeah,
something.
like I remember my mom getting mad at me at the dinner table because I was like, she would always get chicken thighs and chicken legs and
Dark meat.
yeah, we'd like put it in
yeah.
the oven and roast it, and we'd eat that, Mom, Dad, and I at home for dinner. And at the kitchen table, I'm like ripping the chicken apart, picking it apart with my hands because I didn't want to eat the fat chunks because I didn't like the texture. I remember getting
Fat chunks.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It was awful. It was the same thing with like with squash and zucchini. I hated squash and zucchini as a kid.
Yeah.
Mainly because my grandfather like made me eat his casserole, and I couldn't like get
Oh,
up out
God.
of the table until I ate it. And by that time, it was cold.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God, it was awful. But like, I hated squash and zucchini. And Mom and Dad, growing up, would put it in everything. Oh, what are we going to have tonight? We're going to have a meat, and we're going to have squash and zucchini. I was like, I've told you guys, like, for years now that I can't stand this. And they would still make it.
Sure.
And so I remember, like, making the determination one day, like, please, like, learn to like it. I'm going to have to change myself because these people aren't going to stop doing what they're doing to me. So I was like, you're just change your taste. And I just like thought about it for a while, and I don't remember a time after that point in my life where I haven't liked squash. I love squash and zucchini now. That's probably just because like when you grow up, everything is developing, everything is changing and
Sure.
maturing.
Yeah, the
and
taste
my
buds.
taste buds probably most definitely matured to like certain things. I also didn't like peas. Peas are great now.
Yeah,
So
okay.
yes, there are things like in life, like it's all biological. We're all developing, and things mature. And there are instances where I think you can choose to train yourself to like something. It's just, I don't think that's the case.
So there may
With
come
my
a
fucking cilantro.
point where you like cilantro, like
No,
on your
I don't think
deathbed,
it's
somebody's
ever-
gonna
Right.
feed you a Chipotle burrito, and you're gonna be like, "Oh, what is that fantastic flavor?" You're like, "Well, Granddad, that's cilantro," and you're gonna close your eyes.
Why did I waste all of this
No,
time
breathe your
hating
last.
cilantro?
I don't, because I think it's that whole genetic thing. You got that gene. I don't know anything about it. I just been told
I'm not a
you got the
geneticist
gene.
either.
Right.
I'm not a
You're
geneticist
not
either.
gonna like it. I wouldn't say that it tastes like soap. I'm just saying it tastes like awful. It's the worst thing that I've ever put in my
Man,
mouth.
and I wish I could just step in just for a day, and then I'd want to go
And
right back. But I would
experience.
love to experience that. And okay, so I've often wondered if it's like that paradigm shift of like, like in like the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, they have that picture that it's like an old woman and a young woman, and it's both in the same drawing, but some people see the old woman first and then know it is an old person. I wonder if it's to a degree like that, where everything that I love about cilantro is really the same flavor profile, but we just view it in different lights.
Right, and I think that's kind of like
the soapy aspect, by the way.
I think that's the point that you were kind of coming to last night in our discussion, and that is like, what if we're all just like, we're these beings that are like put in this plane on this earth, and we all have we got all the same receptors, we got all the same taste buds, we have all the same programming to eat specific things as part of our like biological makeup. But our ego and soul are in these bodies, and it's all filtered through that. And that's what makes the determination that you don't like something or not. Like, if we took the soul away, or if we pulled back the ego and said, that's not part of it. Our bodies are just these programmed, like, insects. We would just eat it because there's no personality, there's no determination there. It's substance.
Right. Correct.
You know what I mean? I think that's kind of like what you were going for last night, and I was saying I don't think there's any way to, like, trick my soul into liking cilantro.
And I feel like that is one of the reasons that I have had a problem with picky eaters in the past, is because I feel like that you are correct, that we all, to a degree, we have the same receptors, and again, I don't know about the whole genetic thing with cilantro, because that's maybe more so than like, oh, mushrooms are slimy, I don't like them, and it's like, man, you're an adult, like, get over that, because they're all these cuisines across the world can't be wrong about mushrooms. Like, so
they can, but you're saying that there's like a baseline opinion that just because like the majority says this is good, then that means that everybody else who just doesn't like it is crazy. There's no normal. It's like, that's the reason why they call it like taste, because it's like subjective. That's like saying, how can you not make that apply to like all things like art?
I think you are right though,
preference,
because but that is why exactly the reason that they say, well, this guy has good taste in stuff. You know, if all you eat is fried chicken, I'm not going to go to get your opinion on a fine dining experience.
Well, no, and I mean, I totally do subscribe to the idea that for a human being, for a person, for somebody, like a while back I read this book, C.S. Lewis, it was part of his space trilogy, when he talks about how this guy, the hero of the book, Ransom, goes to this planet, Paralandra, and it's Venus, and he's experiencing all these things for the first time.
Right.
And as he's experienced them, it's like just this delight for the senses. But I can't help but wonder, like, this guy, new fruits and dishes, or not dishes, but just the things that he's experiences are all magical and new and wondrous and opening up his mind, and he's just floored and elated by all of these new experiences. I can't help but wonder if there's a person that would be dumped in that same situation and go, well, I don't like the flavor of that. Well, that one's too big. Why is it so big? Why is that this way? And that's the same way that I feel on planet Earth. Like, why in God's name are you going to say, I don't like mushrooms? Well, a mushroom grows here, bro. Like, there's a bunch, and like there's a bunch of other people that and I understand that it's preference, but I'm saying, why would you consciously? Because I believe that most of the time, and it's not consciously. It probably goes back to metaprogramming, right? And like, you had a bad experience with mushrooms when you were, mushroom, came into your room and beat you a couple of times. Whack, whack, whack. And I don't like mushrooms anymore.
And that could be the thing too. Like, when's the first time that I had a mushroom? Well, it was probably on a pizza, on a burger, and it probably wasn't cooked very, very well.
Yeah,
and it wasn't like had a gross and soggy taste.
It just wasn't
exactly. I'm not saying like maybe if somebody took a really nice, like, top-of-the-line mushroom and cooked it to perfection, the way that it's supposed to be eaten.
Top of the line.
I don't know how you determine what's like top of the line
on our
mushroom.
website. Top of the line mushrooms.
Maybe I would like it, and I'm not saying it. It's just like I wouldn't. It's how do I prefer to eat tomatoes? I don't like raw tomatoes, but I like roasted tomatoes. It changes the texture. It changes the taste of it. So why do we cook it? Why don't we just eat everything the way that it is? Why don't you just pull out a potato and eat it out of the ground?
Well,
That's nature. It's provided that way. It's food, dude. Just eat it.
Why not?
Why not? Just do it. Well, so why cook it then? Why do anything that we do with food?
Well, because that's what we do with it.
Yeah.
Right, but it's preference.
But
You're making
why
a preference
limit
change
yourself
there.
to
You're
not
saying,
eating?
Like saying
things.
exactly. Like, so we're gonna cook a steak, and I'm gonna cook it medium rare because that's what I prefer.
Okay, yeah, and I'm gonna be kind
not
of
gonna
I'm
eat
gonna be
mushrooms.
bitchy here because I do agree with you to a certain degree in that I think that was one of the problems I had with some vegetables when I was younger. And I mean, bless my mother's heart and a lot of that generation, but they did not know how to cook vegetables. You know, they would overcook everything. They would steam Brussels sprouts, no flavoring, no salt, pepper, garlic powder, no balsamic. They just steam the Brussels sprouts, throw them on your plate, and be like, enjoy. And I think that stemmed from a lot of people saying, I don't like Brussels sprouts.
Okay.
But I feel like that adding and that cooking and the flavoring, and to just say, and again, I keep going back to cilantro, but to say I don't like cilantro at all, maybe you haven't found the form or what it pairs with that you do like.
I think with that specific example, it has to do with the
and that one that very well could be genetic.
Pass. Like,
we'll say
or like,
mushrooms
like
would be
blue
a better
cheese,
example.
or like goat cheese. You know, like it's too acidic for me. I don't like how acidic goat cheese is, so I'm not going to eat it because I don't like it. But it's like, do we gauge on whose opinion about food we can take based on the wild things that we're able to experience on a palate? So, like, you know, if somebody likes anchovies, well,
Anchovies are great.
to have like an elevated taste to really appreciate and like anchovies, does that mean, oh, since you eat that, then we're going to take your opinion on food, you know, more seriously because you're going to eat something a little bit more off the beaten path?
I would say so. Or at least that I think with personal taste, if I really knew that you were into modern art, I would be like, well, Cody, what did you think of the modern art exhibit that came to town? If I know Matt is predisposed to just be like, modern art is a freaking joke and whoever likes it, and modern art is a joke. But, you know, but at the same time, I think modern art's a joke, but there is some of it that I like. You know, there are some of those just like big color swatches that I'm like, wow, all it is orange and red with a big black line down the middle, but somehow it just gets me, you know?
Well, yeah, because that's all we really do with anything, and I think that this goes back to food, and this goes back to anything else. We are like 4-year-olds in God's playbox, and we have food that we can malign and rearrange. We have colors we can malign and rearrange. We didn't invent any of this stuff. We just found it and we play around with it. And that's kind of like, and I respect preference, and I can't get on anybody too hard for not liking something. The question in my mind has always been, okay, if you try it and it's just like whatever, I would knock somebody harder for not trying it before they make a judgment.
I mean, I'm going to try everything once. And I think what I'm trying to separate is that there's a difference between like some of the things I really don't like to eat, like mushrooms or tomatoes, like fresh tomatoes and goat cheese and everything. Like, if it was in there, I'm not gonna like come to your house and say,
could you pick the goat cheese?
I will not eat that dish. Throw it out. I'll eat it. You know, like I'll put up with it. Am I gonna like it the most? No, but I'll eat it. It's not a big deal. Cilantro is one of those things. Is like, this is awful, and I literally refuse. I can't. It does not taste good. It's like,
that's why we left cilantro out of the dish last night.
I didn't even eat the dish last night.
No, but we left it out
I got there
because of Cody.
Just not to offend his senses.
that
is actually not true. I actually tauntingly put more on my dish.
You can see the gag reflex going on.
I was playing around. That was all fake. I just couldn't believe it.
No, I do think that there is a part of a culture that, like with my desire to get to, you know, enjoy cigars, which I enjoy them thoroughly now, that it was part of the society, and that if you wanted to be a food critic, you would have to learn how to like mushrooms in their different variety and goat cheese and blue thing, but you're not gonna become a food blogger or
I'm
whatever.
Honestly,
So
like, really don't care if you don't take my opinion on food seriously. Like, that's cool.
Right. So Yeah, but I think that that tastes and preferences are something that is our human ability, is to not only say, well, I don't immediately like that, but I'm going to expand my worldview to where maybe I could like it, or I can at least understand it, and where, because I agree, like goat cheese, overpowering, but it has its place, and it can be a good flavor accent in certain dishes, right?
Great.
Or like, you know, like how do you translate that to cigars too? You know, because I can't. I sit back and I read these reviews for cigars where somebody's describing what it tastes like, and they're like, it has these beautiful floral notes and pecan and oak, and it's like, I don't taste that shit. I just smoke the cigar.
Oh, that's so sad.
And it puffs really well. You know what I mean? So I gauge a good cigar on the like, I can tell the difference between lighter and darker, and heavier, more oily. I can tell all those things for sure. But my main basis for determining what's a good cigar is how easy is the draw, how consistent is the pull, how well does it burn, what is the ash like when it's coming off. You know what I mean? So that's the reason why there's some big name cigar companies that I don't like that we sell really well here in the shop, simply because of the way that they smoke.
Yeah.
And they're not consistent, or their ash is going all over the place. And I don't want to be covered in ash when I'm smoking a cigar. You know what I mean?
Terribly annoying.
So, but I'm also not going to sit there and say, oh, well, take my word on how great this cigar tastes, because, you know.
Yeah.
But
You're
like,
an
even though I
aficionado.
can't, I'm not an aficionado because I can't taste all of the nuances in each
You're not
blend.
picking up the oak barrel it was aged
I'll
in.
never do that. You'll never see me in a video going, well, this is what I picked up in this, you know.
So the topic today is taste. Be sure to like and comment below what some things are that you just can't stand, what you don't like.
What do you think about genetic dispositions as far as liking cilantro or not?
Oh my God.
I take issue with it because that's like saying, well, the man's genetically predisposed to be a pedophile. Like,
Wow.
That's a big jump from
Hold up.
That is such a big jump from liking or disliking food to sexual preference.
No, it's not.
It's a huge.
No, it's not.
One.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Because if once you start to understand about psychology and you understand about genetics, for example, are you guys familiar with memes? And I'm not talking about the internet variety of meme. There are memes inside what they call in the genetic coding of animals, for example. Like, to give you a perfect picture of this, a baby deer will get left in the forest by her mother. She's got spots on her back, and the baby deer knows that when the mother's gone, she lies down. She's better camouflaged that way, out of sight, out of mind. They say, scientists have looked at this and said, well, how does the baby deer know how to do this? No one taught this baby deer. It's genetic. It's inside. It's built in. They believe
babies that just know how to swim and float in
built
water
inside of their coding.
Hold breath.
They know how to do it. And so at the end of the day, I'm not saying, because I know that's an extreme example, but I'm just saying, how are we going to say that genetics or what are genetics capable of doing, and how strong are they? Because if you're going to say, well, I don't like cilantro, you know, and it's a genetic thing, and Adolf Hitler is like, well, I just don't like Jews, it's a genetic thing, and killing all these people was, I mean, that's, don't write, please forget that I said that.
Oh my God, you have to edit that out.
Anyway, go check out our Instagram.
PaladinCigars.com.
But no, I see what you're saying with that, and I think that there are certain things, like, okay, if your throat closes up when you have eat shellfish, don't just be like,
don't just eat shellfish.
Yeah, right.
Like, I have an allergy to shellfish. I can't really eat that.
Yeah.
Like another one comes out of the woodwork.
Oh, my bad for having. Sorry, my throat closes up when I eat crawfish.
Well, we're gonna test this out on a later episode of Paladin Lifestyle.
All the crawfish.
I did that, by the way, one time. Some dude, like 2 or 3 years ago, brought in some kind of gumbo, and it had every type of seafood in it, all of it. And I was like, I'm just gonna eat it, forget it. And then I spent the next hour like trying to clear my throat and drink
Oh,
water
yeah,
because it was
really?
like closing up.
We can also test the effectiveness of an EpiPen.
Yeah,
I don't have one yet.
right.
I don't have one.
Sponsored by.
Well, I think that's going to do it for today. I really like the idea of food. We're going to get more into that in future episodes, future broadcasts. So stay tuned. And again, Paladin Lifestyle, the website is getting more and more content all the time. So check that out. Again, paladincigars.com. If y'all are cigar smokers, head on over there. Support
Follow us on Instagram.
Instagram,
sure.
Facebook. Anyhow, you all have a wonderful day.
See y'all
We'll see you
next
next
time.
time.
Later.